Well, hello, welcome to Blender Stuffs. We are in the second part of the tutorial on how to make a fidget spinner. If you haven't seen part 1, the link to it will be in description. So we'll continue with detailing the outer weights. Go to Edit Mode. Enable X-ray mode pressing Alt-Z. Make sure that the bottom face is selected. Then press I to inset these faces, till here. Go to Loop Tools and select Brig to brig these faces like this. A to select all. Shift D and scale down to make the inner ring. Make sure to press Shift Z after pressing S to scale. Otherwise, the width will also scale, which we don't want. So press S to scale, then Shift Z to omit Z-axis. Alt-left click to select this loop. And scale it pressing Shift Z again. Hover over this part and press L to select this part. Shift D to duplicate again to make the center ring. Scale it pressing Shift Z. Till here. Alt-left click to select this loop and scale it. Add a subdivision surface modifier. But you can see that the subbed modifier is also smoothing the edges we don't want. To make those edges sharper, go to Edit Mode, Edge Selection Mode, go to select Sharp Edges. Then go to In Panel, Item, and under Edge Data, increase to 1. Or you can use the shortcut Shift E and press 1 on your keyboard. Now add the sub D again. You can see that the edges are sharp now. Also shade Auto Smooth. And add a bevel modifier. Set the amount to 0.1, segments to 2. And enable Harden Normals. Now we can start making the bearing. Let's delete the reference image we used in part 1. And add a new one from the project folder linked in the description. Load the bearing image. Alt-G and Alt-R to clear location and rotation. And scale it so that it fits here. Add a cylinder and set the vertices count to 16. Scale it so that it fits here. Set the Z dimension to 7 centimeters. Enable X-ray mode and select these vertices. Inset the till here. And bridge them. Duplicate to make the inner ring. And scale it pressing Shift-Z. Select it and press M, then move to New Collection, naming it Bearing. Move the bearing collection to the main collection. Move the reference image to Extras collection. Now we can start making this part. Add a UV sphere. Scale it down. Then move the sphere here so we can adjust the scale according to our reference image. Then press Alt-G to move the sphere to its original position with its scale preserved. Select the sphere and press Slash to go local view. Rotate it 90 degrees on the X-axis. Shift-D to duplicate, and right-click to keep it in its original position. And scale it a bit. Go to Edit mode of the outer sphere. Enable X-ray mode. Select these vertices and these vertices so that there are 5 unselected edge loops in the middle. Press X and delete these vertices. Go to Global View, press Slash, and select this part and go to Local View of this object. Go to Front View. Enable X-ray mode and select these vertices. And delete them. Select these vertices. Press S, Z, then 0 to align them on the Z-axis. Do the same for these vertices. Select these vertices and press E, then X to extrude them on the X-axis. Then press S, X, then 0 to align them on X-axis. Go to Auto Mirror, select X-axis, and keep the orientation positive. Click on Auto Mirror. Add a array modifier. Set the count 8. To make them go in a circular order, we will use curve modifier. Now add a curve circle. Scale it down. Scale it so that it's in the center of the ball retainer. Select the ball retainer, go to Curve Modifier, and select the Bezier circle. Now it will follow the curve. But it is not completing the circle, so we need to adjust it. Click on this icon to see the curve modifier in edit mode. Select these vertices and move them on the x-axis. We will move it till the ends are connected. Press Shift while moving to get more control over it. There. You see there is a hard angle along the merging point. That's because we don't have enough vertices here. So let's add some edge loops here. Scroll up to increase the edge loops to 3. And also here. Now is following the curve more smoothly. Now let's place the metal ball. Move it here. I'll rename the empty we used in part 1 to empty 1. Add an array modifier with a count of 8. Apply all transforms. Uncheck relative offset and check object offset. And add a new empty. Rename it to empty 2. And move it to extras collection. Well, have no idea what is empty 002, I guess I accidentally duplicated it. So I'll just delete it. Now select the sphere and select the empty 2. Then select empty 2. Press R, Z to rotate on Z-axis, then enter 45 on your keyboard. I entered 45 degrees because the angle between every metal ball is 45 degrees. Select these objects and go to local view pressing /. Now the metal isn't supposed to be floating like that. So let's add a solidify modifier to the ball retainer. And also apply the scale so that the modifiers works correctly. Let's set the thickness to something like 0.3 so that it is in contact with the metal ball. Also check even thickness. Let's shade auto smooth. Now let's model these bolts. Add a cylinder and make the vertices count to 16. Scale it down. And place it here. Let's place it roughly between like this. Scale it on the z-axis. Let's shade auto smooth it. We will use the same empty to array it. Also shade smooth it. Go to select, then select sharp edges. And increase the mean crease to 1 so that we can apply a sub-D modifier. You can see there is some space here. Go to face selection mode and enable X-ray mode. Then alt-click on this edge to select this face loop. Or you can enable vertex selection mode, then alt-left click this loop. Then this loop. This also eventually select this face loop. Then scale, then pressing Shift Z. Hide the empties. You can leave it like this. You can see that there is nothing that's holding the metal balls. We will hide this so we can see the metal balls more clearly. Select this part and add an edge loop here. And here. Select these edge loops. Then press Ctrl B to bevel them. Then press Alt E, then extrude faces along normals, and drag down to inset them. Let's crease all the sharp edges again. Or you can just leave it like that. Uncheck the extras collection because we won't be needing it now. Also, I am gonna select the Bezier circle and move it to extras collection. We won't be needing it too. Apply a bevel modifier. And apply all transform so that scale is applied too. Select this edge loop. And this one. Then press Ctrl B to bevel it. Now let's model the finger plates. Let's add a cylinder again. Scale it to the size of the bearing. Select the lower vertices and move them here. And select the upper vertices and bring them down. Press E to extrude, S to scale. Press I to inset this face. Select these edges and crease them. Select this lower face, go to bottom view, and inset this face like this. Extrude this face to just before this red line. I to inset. Extrude it and move the face upwards. To make the lower part, duplicate it. Press R, X. Then enter 180 on your keyboard. Now add a bevel modifier. Set the amount to 0.4. Now let's rename everything. We can delete the reference image now. Let's select everything and select the main body as active selection. Press Ctrl P, then object to parent everything to the main body. Now we can just move the main body and everything will move with it. There is one last thing I would like to do. If you see these finger plates, everything looks fine. But if you select a glossy matte cap, you can see that there are some pinching going on. This is because of this end gone here. You could inset to make it really small, but that doesn't really fix our problem. What you could do instead is delete this whole face and then fill the face pressing F. Press I to inset. Remove the crease value. Move this a bit downwards. And delete this face. Then press Ctrl F, then grid fill. Increase the offset to 2 so that it aligns with X and Y axis. Select this faces, then circle them using loop tools. Bring these faces down a bit. And also this center vertex. Now there is no pinching. And we still got that curvature there. Let's delete it and duplicate the modified one. So now we are done with modeling. In the next part we will texture it, so see you in the next one.